Hi, I am Raymarie Salilo Amansek, and this video commentary is about Jane Addams and her philosophical concepts. Laura Jane Addams was born on the eve of the American Civil War outbreak that was on September 6, 1860, in Cedarville, Illinois. She was eighth of the nine children to Sarah Weber Addams and John Addams, a fairly wealthy Midwestern family. Jane lost her mother when she was 2 years old. By the time she was eight, four of her siblings had died. She spent her childhood playing outdoors, reading indoors, and attending Sunday school. She grew very close to her father until he remarried Anna Halderman in 1868, who was then a piano teacher. John Adams sent his daughter to college at Rockford Female Seminary. Jane graduated top of her class in 1881. The following year, she was granted the bachelor's degree when the school got the accreditation. Jane Addams took a tour to Europe with Ellen Gatestar in 1888. They spent a lot of time in the poorest sector of the city and also visited Toynbee Hall. She saw this as a potential model for herself. When Jane and Ellen went home, they established the Hall House in one of the poor and largely immigrant neighborhood of Chicago. It was an institution set up to do social work. She then adopted an approach that was less driven by her own ideas, but more driven by the needs of the people in the neighborhood. What Jane ended up doing was involving cooperatively people in the community. Her philosophy of education is based on a pragmatist idea, which focused on common sense, practical experiences, and that the ideas were research based. She came up with the theory of socialized education, which is to rebuild a sense of community where everybody is working together. Another is vocationally based because the students were no longer learning from their parents' trades, but they are now learning in the schools or from the streets. She also advocates to preserve and appreciate immigrant culture. The impact that Jane Addams had in education and social work is really insurmountable up to today. She believed that teachers need to understand the economic, the demographic, and technological trends that were reshaping our society. We must all be aware of how students are prepared to go out into the world beyond classroom doors. Another thing is that the educator's cultural awareness and the inclusion of a more culturally experience based classrooms draw another similarity between our classroom today and the Hall House environment. It has been said that our classrooms are becoming more and more diverse at an enormous rate, but our teaching force looks largely the same as it did decades ago. Certainly, it is imperative for educators to consider her approach to social education and the importance she placed on educating our teachers on the communities in which their students live and the culture from which they originate. If Jane Addams were alive today, she would no doubt advocate to educators to get to know their students and their culture identities and teach to their experiences. I must say that educators must revisit her theories and practices with a renewed sense of purpose and vigor as we now face many of the same challenges that were presented to teachers and communities during Jane's lifetime. We can utilize and improve their ideas and prepare for the future of the next generation, even if we are unsure yet just what that future might look like.